Okay, this lesson is being recorded. A little review of what I just talked about. We are doing this handout, this image, and we talked about the angles here and the horizon, dividing your picture in two just to see where things go. And we're going to do this one in toned graphite. First off, we can use this to think about where we're going to be toning. Lighter right here, darker up here a little bit. I'm going to probably be using horizontal motion while I tone, a side-to-side motion. Using my graphite stick, and got one here. I need to peel it a little bit. This one got broken, which is fine, and a bit of sandpaper. I'm going to sand on top of the page I'm going to be working on. Incidentally, you will also end up needing a piece of paper to act as a resist so you don't smudge everything on it. So the things you're going to need is your graphite stick. You will need a pencil as well. So you have your pencil, graphite stick, and eraser. We should all have those things. I'm going to sand, and you just one side is fine. You can actually kind of create an angle. And we're going to take a little bit of sanding and tap it up here. Oh, there's one other thing you're going to need here is a little Kleenex. And like I said, I'm going to be doing horizontal motions. The other thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to leave a margin, a little margin of clean paper around the side. So we are going to take our Kleenex like this, pull the corners together, and creating kind of a loofah shape. We're going to smear the graphite horizontally. And like I said, I'm going to try to leave a margin for around the edges. If there's stuff under your page, it will create a texture that isn't always the best. I think I found that I liked to do this with a clipboard underneath or something that's a little bit smoother. So you can have a little stack of paper underneath your page, so you don't have that texture of the. Some of you guys have bumpy desks and stuff, so I'm going to smooth that out this way. I'm using exclusively horizontal lines. You'll also find right there, this is where my mountains are going to be. That's a fingerprint. Well, my finger, you have oil on your fingers, and it will pick up more graphite there. So it's when they do fingerprints, they can see that the oil in your fingers leaves a print. I'm going to do a little bit more here. I'm going to do the You're not looking in this case, I mean, you can go for a total perfect tone for the whole thing. I'm just wanting to get some basic stuff down, and I think I'm going to leave it kind of like this, where it's a lot lighter down here and darker up in certain corners. Yeah, my fingerprints are all over this. Whoops. If your graphite sandpaper gets kind of clogged up, use your pencil, and you can actually loosen that up with your pencil. Okay, we've talked about aspect ratio a little bit in my classes before. We're going to talk a little bit more about it now. The aspect ratio of this isn't quite the same as this, so this is a little longer than my pages. So I'm probably going to leave out a little bit of sky and a little bit of, what is this? Grassy foreground. Okay, across the middle is going to be my seascape. My sea is out there. I'm going to sketch in the sides here. And I'm just doing this lightly in the number 2 pencil. Just sketching it. Make sure this is nice and clear here. going to sketch this rock. It goes above the horizon. And kind of have this two sides of that really like deep shadow on one side. We'll go almost black with that when we draw that. So I'm just going to sketch this right on top there. Right on top of your toned page. Like I said, you will need, and you can use another piece of paper or something, you will need something like this to go under your hand. Because as you can already see, my hand is picking up that graphite here. So I can put this there, so if I want to draw up here, it won't be creating that fingerprint stuff that's already giving me problems, and it will be not smudging as much. It can still smudge a little bit, but it will be much better. So there's my rock there. Hopefully we can see how that goes. We're going to have some angles for the ocean here, or the beach. It's going to come out here like this, and come down there like that. And like I said, I'm going to give myself a little bit more space down here because of the aspect ratio situation I'm running into. So this curve is going to be the most deeply curved. As we get into the ocean shape, they're going to be more, a little bit sharper angles. So we've got that, and we got another one. And this one's almost just a tiny, there we go. This one you don't really, it's really quite sharp. There. Okay, I'm going to use, just so we can follow along, I'm going to use a little eraser to, and you can clean your eraser off on your I call this the resist paper. It resists the smudging. So clean your eraser off a little bit, that's fine. If you need another cleaner, sharper edge, you can erase it to that point, or you can even trim it. You can cut it, use a knife, whatever. So I'm going to use my eraser, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of an edge out here. My eraser's a little, there we go. And hopefully we can see. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can really, whoops, wrong way. Zoom in on this so you can really see what I'm doing here. So, if I don't like the shape of this, that's fine. I can just smudge it out with my Kleenex or my blender. So I'm just going to erase right on top of this. This is where I'm going to be drawing waves. I'm not drawing waves yet. Don't worry about it. They don't look like waves, but they hopefully will later. There's a place on the Oregon coast called not Cannon Beach. This is Cape Blanco. These little, in the image here, we have these little things. These are pretty horizontal, so don't make those tilt too much. Those streams that go to the ocean. Now we've got some cliffs here. Alright, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And the rock. So I'm going to erase the kind of light side of the rock. The rock is going to be pretty much the focal point of this drawing. So I'm going to put a lot of detail on the rock. I don't need to put detail everywhere, but the detail on the rock is going to be useful. And some of you guys are probably wondering why I'm not starting just in the upper left corner, because I usually like to start upper left corner, but because I've toned the whole thing, I guess I've decided that that it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use the resistant paper underneath my hand so I don't smudge everything. Alright, so I've erased this more or less. You can always clean it up more if you want to. You might end up using some what they call white charcoal, which isn't really a thing. It's a thing in practice, but not a thing in reality. Which is like this. Call it white, charcoal white. It's to go with charcoal drawings. It's not actually made of anything burnt. It's more like a white pastel. So we have our pencil, we have our graphite stick, and you know, you can use other things as well, like a different darkness of graphite on a pencil or whatever you've got there. I'm just going to use my number 2 pencil here. And I'm just going to darken this side here. There's a shadow there, so I'm just going to make that shadow nice and dark. And have a nice firm edge, kind of a silhouette of the rock against the background. And look close at the kind of the text, the profile you have in that rock, and see that it kind of follows that. If you do it a little differently, that's fine. I think to just do it by choice, though, as opposed to just not really taking very good care of what you're doing. And hopefully we're kind of seeing how this is working. Let me check on you guys pause it there. Okay, back to the lesson here. Now, I'm going to come back to this rock guy. Meanwhile, I'm going to do some of these clouds up here. These clouds are a lot easier than some of the ones we've done in some other lessons. They literally are just kind of white and light on the background, so you don't have to create a deep shading or anything like that of the clouds. So I'm going to put some of those clouds up here, and it should hopefully help make up for some of my will help make up for some of the fingerprints that I've got up in this part of the drawing. And you kind of just have to move your eraser up and down and back and forth to create that effect. And they come down at an angle which is similar in some ways to the angle here. They kind of follow that angle out to the horizon, down toward the horizon. And they get smaller as they go out. I don't have enough tone on this part of the drawing here, so I'm going to tone this a little bit more with my Kleenex, graphite Kleenex. One of the things that I'll pause to tell you guys this. Unpausing here. Continue with a few more clouds. You can kind of use the width of your eraser sort of like a paintbrush out here. And for me, that has a decent feel to it. That kind of works. Try not to brush the erasings on your paper off with your hand. You'll create huge smudges. Even brushing it off with a Kleenex can do that. Blowing it can be okay, but sometimes they're kind of stuck. So loosening it with the Kleenex can help. So got the clouds up there. I'm going to make this water back here is really dark. So I'm going to use my my pencil. And I'm going to use mostly horizontal lines. One of the things that some of us do is as we like to do an angular hatching for creating tone. Like raise your hand if that's you. It's totally me. Angular, like this. And if I'm doing this, I don't want that across my water. I want them to be horizontal. Now, you can change the orientation of your page so that these are going to be horizontal. These lines will be horizontal and it'll be more relaxed for you. For me, because I have a camera, I'm going to try to keep it nice and level, but I'm going to do the toning with horizontal lines. Exclusively horizontal lines. They shouldn't vary. We talked about surface textures, and there is definitely a surface texture to the ocean, almost by definition, and surface textures always, when the surface is flat, also defines the ocean. Even if it's rolling, far out, it's going to be those horizontal textures. Since I have been using this pencil, I've got a nice little flat spot on it, and it will help with my background hills and stuff. Even though it's way foggy, really foggy in the background of this picture, the shade, the dark side of the mountain is still going to be the same as the dark side of my rock over here, because the light source is still just the sun. I'm going to be really careful about how hard I press my pencil, because I don't want it to be too much of an edge there. I don't need it to be a hard line or anything like that. I've used my blender very little, but I'm going to use my blender a little bit here. So the blender is that rolled up piece of paper, and it can help blend in stuff on your page. This is coming along. Things further away are going to be lighter. There's more atmosphere in front of you and them. They're going to be foggier. So make them lighter as you get further into the horizon or into the background. With the driftwood out here, when you come to drawing it, I'm not going to be drawing it quite yet, but don't try to draw all of it. It's just too much. So a little bit here and there and kind of a texture will probably suffice. And since I'm out here, so I'm working my way to the end, we've got this shadow that goes from there up there. That's a long shadow. If you think of the angle of this, it's a long, long shadow.
Please excuse this interruption. Can I please...
Okay, so we've got this. I made my rock taller than usual, taller than I should have, based on the drawing. So it just makes it more imposing. I thought it kind of made it more dramatic. We'll see if it works. But my shadow is going to be coming out that way. So a little glare off of my pencil there. The shadow is pretty much a line. It's a thickened, tapered line, but try not to think of it as like that wedge shape of the thing that you're drawing. Otherwise, it ends up looking too wide and too weird. So that's kind of the shape of the shadow that I've got there. I'll make it darker. You've got a kind of a stream or something running through there. All these muscles down there on that rock, and they create an interesting texture on the rock. I'm using a similar technique to the one I've used when I do leaves. It's just the shaping of it is a little different. To create the look of something like a wave, go under your white with a little shade, a little line, kind of make the line ripple a little bit, and it will make it look like it will help make it look like it's a wave there. So like there, and then you drag the shadow out. You just draw the shadow out underneath it a little bit, and that's at least kind of how I've wound up making waves look more like waves. All right. If you do end up using something like charcoal white, which you always want to make sure you've got pretty clean paper underneath that, because you can put that charcoal white, this stuff, you can use it with graphite too on graphite drawing, but if you don't have it just really well erased and clean underneath, it just mixes with your graphite or your charcoal to create kind of a gray color, and it doesn't really work very well. So the erasing is really the main part of what you're going to be doing with that. Okay, we're going to stop there and pick up tomorrow.